So welcome to my garage here in Lady Lake. What we're going to do today is go through the basic washing procedure that I use to make sure that I don't introduce swirls and scratches into my paint. Also helps to maintain whatever wax or coating or sealant that's on the paint. Helps keep it lasting longer. So everything I do or show you here today has an end goal of on getting your car clean, but getting your car clean without introducing more issues or creating more problems than what you started with. You certainly want your car clean, you want it to shine, but in my opinion, I would prefer to have it shine without scratches and swirls that you usually see in most cars' finishes. So I'm going to take you through that process. I'm going to show you some of the products that I use. I've been doing this for about 15 years now, and am one of those people that tends to obsess over everything I do. It's either 100 or 0. So every product that I use, I'm not biased toward one company or another. Every product that I use has come from massive amounts of testing, lots of trial, even more error over the years. So I'm not biased, or I like Adams is one of the companies I use. Car Pro is another company that I use a lot. Griot's Garage, but I'm not biased toward one or the other. It's just whoever makes the best product for the application. I'm going to show you that here today. This is going to be a very sort of abbreviated video in comparison to what I normally do, just in the interest of time. I want to get this done in 20 minutes or less. So I'm going to sort of jump through step by step, and certainly I'll be available for questions afterwards. So I'm going to use Adams wheel cleaner. There are different types of wheel cleaner. This is just a traditional sort of, I would call it a light wheel cleaner. Adams also has a deep wheel cleaner. Bob's wheels here aren't super dirty, so I'm going to use a traditional wheel cleaner. Also with chrome, I usually feel better just using a traditional wheel cleaner rather than a heavier cleaner. A deeper wheel cleaner will react with any sort of metal or iron that's sort of embedded on the surface of the wheels, and it'll turn purple, so it'll chemically react and break that down. But we don't need that for this application, because I told Bob to go drive through the mud or something, but he didn't do that. Car's already clean. I guess when you're a car maniac, it's hard to get it dirty. I can relate. So I'm going to use, this is Adams wheel woolly on the inside. Just kind of reach in here. And if you do this every time, then you don't have to worry about buildup. So all you really need to do is touch it. And then obviously we're not going to get behind the caliper cover here. So let's see if this is an easy detail brush. And then I like to usually just grab it and just swipe off I don't really use anything under here, but especially as clean as Bob's car is, just to kind of swipe any extra dirt out underneath. And so they have a large and small easy detail brush, and I'll get you guys links to all this stuff. This is a Griot's Garage Lambskin mitt. They don't make these anymore. There's another company that makes them very similar. They're not as good as the Griot's were, I guess you could say, from Lake Country. They're cheap. They're like, I don't know, $10, $8, something like that. But I like these because then I can really sort of get in all the grooves. Rather than trying to use this and squeeze in all the crevices, this just allows me to by hand go and reach behind all the different cracks and crevices in the wheel, getting it nice and clean. And then I'll do the tires. This is Griot's rubber cleaner. You could also use Adams all-purpose cleaner. I really like the Griot's rubber cleaner. I've tried all different types of all-purpose cleaners on the tires, but I prefer this. This is a Tough Shine, super cheap. They're like $2 Tough Shine tire brush. I like these, especially for cars. I mean, this car has some room, but you know, like my M3 is pretty low, so it's tough to get up in there, and I don't want to hit the fender. The other nice thing is I can control this. I don't want to be scratching the wheels, so I can kind of control where, you know, this is easier to control than your traditional big old tire brush. So there's our first wheel, nice and clean. To get set up, I do the 2-bucket system. So you have, these are from the same company, Adams, that I use a lot of their stuff. Rinse bucket, soap bucket, and then I'm going to use an Adams. This is a synthetic wool. I have bought and probably have somewhere in the cabinet some really fancy, high-end, real wool or microfiber. These are $10 a piece, and they last forever. Some of them I've had for 5-6 years. I've never seen a scratch on my car from using this thing. I just throw them in the washer with my regular clothes. I throw them in the dryer. Just the dryer actually would shake out any sand or anything like that. But these are my favorite. I'd urge you to give the Adams a try. It's really, really awesome. They really have created something great that's just so simple. So what I'll do, I'm going to use Adams Car Shampoo. This is another thing. You know, this washing, Adams really has dialed in. I really like a lot of their products, and I've tried everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Bought and tried and I've thrown away more stuff than I care to admit. But I'm going to put about 2 ounces or so, 1.5 ounces of soap. I put it on here, and then we'll use the Adams fire nozzle hose nozzle on the spray it off the pad. That way, if you put it in the bottom of the bucket, I don't shoot it out of the bucket accidentally. So we'll fill up the rinse bucket first. There's also in here grit guards. We have the grit guards in here to make sure that any dirt falls underneath. So when you drop your wash pad in the bucket, it sits on top of the grit guard rather than on the dirt at the bottom. So this is my pressure washer foam cannon. So what I'm going to do is put about 2 ounces of soap. It's very scientific. I just squeeze it a few times and guess. If you were really, really anal, you could probably get like a little measuring cup or something out. So you got yay amount in the foam cannon. And then one of my buddies just recently, probably 2 months ago, said, well, what I always do is I always just take because I'd always go walk inside to the sink and fill this thing up, and the bubbles would come, fill up, so I'd have to run it real slow. He said, why don't you just stick it in the rinse bucket and fill it up? It takes 2 seconds. Bingo. You could go right to foam. I prefer to rinse it. So you can see Bob's car is beating nicely here. That's a whole nother 3-hour-long video of how to make it do that. Trust me. So here's my quick connect, 1/4-inch quick connect, boom. And magic happens. So the goal of this foam is to lift anything that's on the car off of it before I even touch it. So hopefully I blew off the really heavy stuff with the first, rinse. Then this foam is going to lift any sort of embedded stuff off of the paint. So when I come and follow with my wash pad, bugs and stuff like that should just come right off. One of the mistakes I used to do is I used to try to hurry up and use the foam that's on the car to wash it, but it kind of defeats the purpose. You really want to let this sit for a few minutes, let it run off the car. I don't care who you are. If you're a car guy, I think this is great. It doesn't get any better than that. You get an awesome car with foam running off of it. This soap, just another little tip, this soap is pH balanced. So if you were in the sun, you're actually better off leaving the soap on the car than you would be attempting to get it off. So you're better off the soap drying on the car than you would be having water dry on the car, because it's pH balanced. It won't leave mineral deposits and water. So what I don't want to do is come out here and start buffing, especially a black car. If I have the choice, I mean, I'm barely applying any pressure at all. So I'll do from top down. So I did a section on the top here. I'd do more of the car with one rinse of the pad at the top than I would at the bottom. So then with my rinse bucket, soap bucket, so I'm re-soaped. We're back in business. Florida, one of our biggest issues. We don't have to worry about cinders and salt and stuff like that, but what we have to worry about is love bugs. And love bugs come every May and October, so they're coming like next week. And love bugs are the one thing that you don't want to leave sitting on your paint. I found that you're good 4 or 5 days as long as you're not parked out in the bright sun. So I don't like wiping them off in between. I like just like during love bug season, I'll just wash my car every week. I usually wash my car every week anyway, but if we had something going on, I wasn't able to. With love bugs, there's no option. You got to get them off. So every week I got to do it. You could use a detail spray or a waterless wash or something like that. But with bugs, what I like to do, first of all, we lifted them first with the rinse, and then we lifted them even more with the foam as it's running off the car. And then we're gonna obviously wipe the thing off. What I recommend people do is, rather than just sitting there and buffing the heck out of it, especially again on a black or a dark blue or something like that, instead just use the same procedure in wiping. Just don't get crazy. Don't use all that muscle you got. Just wipe it off. If it's waxed, like this car is, it should pull everything, 85% of love bugs or any other sort of jerky off of the front of the car. So just doing this. Then I would rather get the remaining little guts, the really heavy stuff that didn't come off. I would get it in the drying part. So, because when I'm drying the car, everything's clean, and then I'm going to use a detail spray drying agent. But this is really all you need. If you have wax, or you have coating, or you have sealant, if you have something on the paint, and it's still beading water nicely, all these 3 steps of rinsing, foaming, and then washing gently should get all the bugs off the car. You guys know this. Start at the top, work your way down. Don't come back up. So after I hit the bottom, I flip. And I'll only do one section at a time like that. So I don't go back and start pulling the dirt, because this is always going to be the dirtiest part of the car here, and in the rear fender behind the rear wheel. And you can see all that soap that we use is pretty much dissipated by now. It's eco-friendly. It's not going to cause any problems. Just sort of runs off in your driveway and you're fine. There's not harsh chemicals or anything. You don't need any of that. So with this whole procedure, less is more. The less you touch the paint, the better. I'm going to use a drying agent, Adam's detail spray, These are my favorite towels. These towels don't do as well if you're not going to blow the car off, because they're waffle weave, and waffle weave towels aren't super thick. But I love a waffle weave towel when there's still water on the car, but there's not a ton. And so we're going to do the same. I'm going to start here, but normally you would start at the top and sort of work your way down, just like you would when you're washing. But I'm going to do just a drying agent, just to make sure there's lubrication. You don't need a ton. I'll take the towels, and just like before, we don't want to do any crazy buffing, just dry the thing off. So the first towel just kind of gets the heavy stuff off, the heavy water. And then my second towel, on this car I'd probably use 4 towels total. And then this will come by and get the rest of it. Again, I'm not using pressure, I'm just wiping it dry. And the detail spray helps ensure that we have a nice sort of lubricated surface. And this is the most important part, even more important than normal washing, because this is where you really jack up the paint if you're not careful. All right, so normally what I'll do, or always what I'll do, is go clean all the jams up as well. This is another one of those things, kind of like the exhaust tips. If you do it every time, it takes 5 minutes to do the whole car, to do all the different sections under the hood, the door jams, and then it just stays nice forever. Even though we blew the wheels off, there's still a little water on them still. So after I'm done with all the jams, then I'll use these are my old Griot's Garage drying towels, which have held up for a long time. This is another great towel, microfiber towel. As long as you don't wash your microfiber towels with anything else, wash them by themselves, wash them in cold. You can dry them, just don't dry them super hot. You never want to wash with cotton, because then they'll get all clogged up. But this is an Adams foam block, which you can probably just go to Joann Fabrics and buy some foam. They're probably $3 a piece at Adams. But just put a little on the block, and come around, work it into the tire. If you get it a little on the wheel, it doesn't really matter. It'll just wipe it off. Most of the time, I don't even wipe it off, because you don't even notice it. So if there's anything you buy today, I don't get anything out of it, but if there's one thing you want, this is the real deal. Now, I don't like shiny tires. I like, just like Bob's Tires here, I like a matte sort of satin-ish finish, satin at the most. That's what this stuff does, and I use it straight up. So thanks for watching, everyone. I appreciate you joining me in my garage here in Lady Lake. Thanks to Bob Hamilton for letting me use his car as a C5 Corvette as an example car. Thanks to Marcus for inviting me in to share some of my knowledge with you guys. I hope to be involved with all of you more in the future. I'm going to be hosting different sort of detailing seminars, maybe smaller 10-person groups to talk about more advanced topics. Of course, I have my website, Obsessed Garage, if you're interested in the products or interested in some of the other stuff I use for some of the other applications. I have tons of do-it-yourself videos and things like that on the website, and that will link you to my YouTube channel and some of the areas where I provide more information. But thanks for watching. Hope to meet all of you, and certainly I'll be available as long as you need me afterwards for questions. Thanks.